I think I've got this right. Ivan Mike has very kindly promised to write an RPG for everybody in the brigade. All we have to do is make a video to tell him what we want. So, Ivan, I would like an RPG in a big, glossy, hard-backed book with fantastic artwork about the size of the player's handbook, um, but very well crafted with good quality paper and well bound. So if I fall asleep in bed reading it and it falls down the side of the bed, it's not going to get damaged or anything like that. And it, with a little bit of that non-stick surface on it, so it doesn't slide about too easily either. And it should be beautifully and hauntingly illustrated by great artists such as Stephen Fabian or Clive Caldwell. The body of it should be divided into two parts. The main part describing a system which will take little above average characters, starting characters, in a low fantasy magical, in a low magical fantasy setting, medieval fantasy setting, to pick heroes of the sort of level of Beowulf or possibly even Gandalf, to fight able to fight legendary monsters by the end of a long character-driven campaign. There should be gradual progression all the way through, but the progression should be you should feel like you're progressing all the way through, but it should be layered in such a way that it would take a long time to travel the whole path. It should also be character driven. The characters should be encouraged or be programmed to have flaws or characteristics which inevitably draw them into danger or draw them into adventure. So, gambling addictions, things like that. In addition, so this is the main body of the text. The system should use dice. Normal dice, but it shouldn't require advanced levels of mathematics or system mastery. People who read the books deeply shouldn't be able to find loopholes in the system to create characters, to create the real characters, the toughest characters, and sort of create characters that overshadow others in the group too much. Don't worry too much about balance, but it shouldn't be overdone. What else about the system? I'd like magic. As I said, it should be a low magic setting, based on a magic system of prophecy and curses, based on words and rituals described by the player, and the power of the description and the should indicate how powerful the prophecy or the curse is, and how much, whether they've been able to trap the inherent magic in the land with the ritual and wording they've used. Each page should have a sidebar detailing this world. The world should be either our world or a parallel, so a well-known parallel or similar setting. So not just the owners of the book, but every player in the group can have access to it and knows what it can, find out what it's like, sort of get a feel for it, a sense for it, and contribute to the atmosphere and the feeling of the world, rather than just relying on the GM to create the setting. It should be quite gritty, deadly, and semi-realistic, not totally obviously. There should be heroic fantasy involved, but I don't want it to get into cartoonish or superhero levels. And these sidebars should be full of evocative writing, quotes, quotes and sayings, stories, anecdotes, etc., from characters and histories of the world, to inspire both players and GMs with the material in there. Language is very important. So, right, well, Ivan, Mike. Let's see, what other details? Oh, and then the underlying philosophy behind it should promote not adherence to rules, but complicity between players and GM. The players should respect the GM and give their trust to the GM, and the GM should guide and decide what's happening, but not abuse the trust that the players have put in them. Each should understand that they're there to create enjoyable adventures together, and that they're all working collaboratively towards that goal. And that should be there. That sort of guideline should be apparent behind the text. It shouldn't be too expensive, please, if I'm not. I mean, if you can get me a free copy, that would be very nice. But I understand you need to make some kind of economic. You're investing some time, so you need to charge something for these games. But also, I'd like it to be extremely popular, please. I'd like you to only use popular, well-known settings, which will attract a lot of players, because I don't want to spend a lot of time learning a system that nobody else knows. I want to be able to, if I learn it, I want to be able to play it, and I want to be able to easily find lots of other players, either online or in my area, who want to play and know how to play. Once you've done that, thank you very much. I'd like you to adapt the system, because I don't want to play the same setting, the same game for the rest of my role-playing life. I'd like you to make some other role-playing games based on. Occasionally, I don't want to do a long campaign which is character-driven and character-based, but just explore a horrific world similar to Lamentations or Call of Cthulhu, where you know your characters are going to die sooner or later, and it's actually exploring the otherworldly, crazy awfulness of this setting. That's the pleasure of the game. It's not my preferred long-term game, but I do like it as a break. And also, you can create other things, pulp settings from the 1920s, steampunk, Star Wars. I'd like you to create Star Wars, but I'd like them all to be variations on the same basic rule set, please, so I don't have to learn an incredible amount to adapt what I know to the new setting. But I don't want one universal rule set to apply to everything, because you can't have the same combat setting for stabbing somebody with a knife as you have for blasting him with a laser blaster. Anyway, I look forward to seeing your results. Thank you for your offer.